Hello, I'm Jamil Jaffer, NSI's founder and executive director, and welcome to a special episode of Fault Lines, NSI on the ground in Iowa. I was recently in Iowa during the Iowa caucuses, and I was able to interview 4 Iowans on their thoughts on national security issues and the debates shaking up America in the lead up to the 2024 presidential election. Now I'm going to let my past self introduce our interviewees. Hey folks, Jamil Jaffer here with Fault Lines, Man on the Streets interviews. We're doing it from Iowa here to Des Moines, Iowa. It's the day of the Iowa caucuses. I'm here with AJ. AJ is our first victim of the day. Appreciate you doing it, AJ.
Of course.
You're an Iowan, yes?
Yes,
Born
born and
Iowa
raised. Muscatine originally.
Muscatine, awesome.
Yep.
My father-in-law lives in Wilton. So
really?
Not far from Muscatine.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And we're here talking to
Emily.
Emily. And
Hello.
Emily, you're from Iowa?
I am, yes.
Where in Iowa?
Southside Des Moines.
Southside Des Moines. Awesome. And you're how old?
21.
21. Awesome. I'm here with Mo. Mo, tell me, where in Iowa are you from?
I'm actually from Rhinebeck, so it's
Okay.
about an hour and 45 minutes away from here.
Awesome.
Just a small farm town.
Awesome. And can you say how old you are?
26.
26,
Almost
awesome.
27.
Awesome. And I'm here with Sherry, and Sherry's agreed to be our latest victim of these conversations. So thank you for doing it, Sherry. Appreciate it. So Sherry, where in Iowa are you from?
I'm actually originally from Arizona.
Okay.
I moved here to go to college. I've lived here about 10 years now.
Awesome. I think you're an honorary Iowan.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've
fabulous.
reached the milestone.
There you go.
But I live here in Des Moines proper.
Awesome. And how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Awesome. Tell us about this election. Does national security matter as an issue to you? And if so, why or why not? What does matter to you?
I think it matters, but my honest answer is I've just seen so much negativity around this election and politics and issues that we're facing today that I've almost turned my back to it, which is also not necessarily the best thing because to say that I care would mean that I have to pay attention and that I would have to turn my attention to some of these issues. Yet I don't, because I feel like in our society, cancel culture is such a huge deal right now that if you say one thing that someone doesn't agree with, we don't know how to debate. We don't know how to argue in a healthy way. So I just don't pay attention.
And do you find that to be the same when it comes to not just national security, but policy, just generally politics in general?
Yeah. It's almost like we've forgotten to look out for the greater good. And it's become more of like this selfish endeavor in politics and what I think is right and what I think is good versus maybe this is good for me, but this isn't good for everyone else. Like what's something that benefits the greater good of society and our communities?
It does, for sure. I recognize that it's highly complicated. And so I know anecdotally some things, but it's hard to really understand the full picture and everything that goes into those decisions and issues.
I feel like I have definitely followed national security issues in general, and as I get older and start working and kind of grow up past just being a college student, high school student. So I, it grows more and more every day, but I feel it's hard for me to get involved because I feel removed, in my day-to-day life, and that's always with all political issues. I feel like, it sounds so young and naive, but I don't ever notice a difference in my day-to-day life, no matter who's elected, and that's very arrogant for me to say, but that's truly how I feel sometimes. It's like nothing changes necessarily either way for me directly, and that's I'm not speaking that it doesn't change for other people, but that's kind of the sentiment I've always had. But as I get older, I feel like I get more empathy for the world beyond my own, and I start to kind of care more, obviously. So
Sure.
I think it is important, of course. Yeah. I mean, being so young, it's kind of not well educated to maybe the younger populations, I feel like. But yeah, it's definitely important, definitely to keep, our country safe and running properly. And
How do you feel about the war in Ukraine? Should we be supporting Ukraine in the war with Russia?
I mean, we have the resources and we have the ability to do it. And I think for a country Russia's a very powerful country. I mean, it's hard to combat against something like that. I, however, find it very interesting how you hear nothing about the war in Ukraine really anymore. I mean, when it first started, it was all over the news. It was all over social media outlets. I mean, you'd open Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of it, and now it's just silence. And so, to me, it's like I really wonder where our efforts and where our resources are actually going when it comes to this, and where things truly are.
I think there's a very gray area in my own thinking of, again, like the level of support. I don't think that, everything that we've contributed to has been fully vetted. I don't think that, I think there's, as always, no matter who it is, I think there's money probably that's gone to the wrong hands for sure. But I think there's a lot of money that's gone to good use, of course, too. So I think it's kind of a mixed feeling for me, but I absolutely think that if anyone, anyone feels aggressive towards another country unfairly, I think that we should act, not just the U.S., but just as a planet. I don't think that people, should stand for that, to put up with that, just because it's inconvenient to, you don't want to give the funds or support it, but it's just not allowable. I don't think, to kill anyone in general.
Probably. I think that it's a trickle effect. I think it's really hard to know, obviously, if we weren't involved, what that would look like. Russia is a bit scary. I think Putin has proven to be a bit volatile. And so it's very hard for me to say what things would be like if we weren't involved.
I mean, you have that side that said it's none of our business, but also being humanitarian, we should help these people because who else is helping them?
Right.
And I think if we're having countries like Russia literally murdering these people, we should be helping them anyway. We should.
What if China were to invade Taiwan? Should we help the Taiwanese?
Again, I want to say yes. I mean, I help anybody who needs the help, but it's never that simple. Especially with higher ups and all of that kind of stuff. As someone who's just from small town Iowa, not small town, but small relative to other cities, I say yes, help, but I know it's never that simple.
I don't think we should stand for aggression. I just don't think we should. I don't think that it sets a precedent for the rest of the world that the world will allow it. Not just the U.S., but anyone. I think that people need to be given a voice, no matter who they are. If China wanted to invade, an island of 200 people, I still don't think we should allow. It's just not the right way to go about things. Aggression is never the right answer.
China is one, from a global policy perspective, that I don't know a whole lot about. And they are extremely powerful. It's a massive country that has extreme influence over the entire world. Are they planning to invade Taiwan? I'm not.
We don't know, right? There have been claims that they might be, right? And there's a debate about whether we should defend it.
I would be surprised if they did.
Okay, gotcha.
To be honest, I haven't heard much about this.
Okay. Should we be supporting Israel in the war with Hamas? What do you think about that?
Again, highly complicated. I think, if I were to be honest, I think our support of Israel is maybe a little antiquated and probably could be addressed in a more modern way. I think the United States has always taken a stand to support Israel no matter what. And it's gotten to the point now that it's just extremely polarizing, especially when you think about human crisis and how devastating what's happening in that section, that region, to innocent people on both sides. It's difficult to watch our country take a stand so unequivocally to support one side when innocent people are brutalized. So I think, ideally, it would be great to have a more nonpartisan conversation about what that level of support looks like. That's probably not realistic because it is extremely polarizing.
I don't know. I think that's a really controversial topic. In my opinion, I would think yes, but this is my very non-intellectual answer of my mom. I mean, growing up, my mom would always say stand up for the underdog, or and I think in America we are very blessed with the things that we have and the resources and the freedom. So to me, I view it like that, but I also know that there's a lot more that goes into it and behind it, and it's politics, it's people, it's hard.
I have very mixed feelings about that too. I think that there's a very difficult, decision that no matter how much someone understands the history on either side, I don't think that we don't experience it, and I think there's things that people experience that can justify anything, not just but justify the actions. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here, but I think it's too complicated to really make a stance on. But again, I think aggression is just not allowable, no matter on which side. I understand the reaction of both. Not to say I support the reaction of both sides, but I understand the reaction of both sides for sure.
I mean, lots of people are saying, it's none of our business, but I would say if we had a genocide here, I would hope other people would come and help us too. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my look on it, but I don't know. It's awful. I don't know how to feel about that. It's hard. Yeah. Very hard.
Yeah. What about Iran? I mean, we've heard a lot about Iran in the news. Should we be concerned? What should we do about Iran? Is it a challenge? What do you think?
I think it's always going to be a concern. Yeah. I think there's just so much unrest in that region, and there's so much that we don't know about. Yeah. Our government is keeping tabs on a lot of things that's happening over there and has a lot of intelligence, I'm sure, that none of us are privy to. Yeah. It's not a major concern for me. It doesn't seem like it's like top of the list, but I think it's always going to be something.
Totally.
I don't follow that one either. Okay. My honest answer.
I don't know. Great question. I have family who was deployed over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's many different outlooks from someone who's seeing what's in the media and someone who's actually deployed there.
Right.
So, again, I can't really speak on that. I don't know. But, yeah.
If there's signs of aggression, if there's signs that, people feel like they get to enact their will on another group of people, then it should be stopped. No one really has that right to do that.
Do you think we spend enough on our military, or should we spend more or less?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I feel like we spend a lot on our military, and for us, when we left the Middle East, what was that, a couple years ago, and the amount of equipment that was left behind, like, oh gosh, was it millions and trillions of dollars.
Right.
I don't even know what to say about that.
From my perspective, also because of my bias, what I've seen from my brother and his experience, and knowing some things about the United States military and our approach to foreign policy, I think, again, it's very easy to criticize without knowing what it would be like if we didn't. Right. We didn't have militarization at the extreme amount that we do. Yeah. The power that our country has globally. Anyway, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that we pour in the military, but what would it be like if we didn't? I don't know. It's hard to say.
I know there's a lot more investment around the world with other countries in their military, and I think, as always, we need to keep up, but I do think we're keeping up. I don't think that we need more or need less. I think we just need to maintain and keep up with the rest of the world, basically.
Well, the U.S. has like the biggest military. I mean, we put billions and billions of dollars into our military all the time. I think we're good in that department for now.
Cool. And that's a wrap. A huge thanks to our guests, AJ, Emily, Mo, and Sherry, for taking time out of their busy days to participate in our interviews. Another thanks to Devlin Burney, Claude Jennings, and the NSI staff for their help in producing today's episode. Join us again on Monday, January 22nd for the Fault Line team's reaction to the answers to these interviews. Fault Line's now on YouTube, so check out our channel for a video of all the interviews that we went through today. And if you like what you heard or saw, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Have a great weekend.